A country is born on the map, but behind every new border there is a long story of politics, fear, ambition, and history. Pakistan appeared on the world map in August 1947, almost overnight in the eyes of many people. But the reality is that its creation was the result of decades of political movements, negotiations, misunderstandings, and growing tensions inside British India. Why was Pakistan created? Why did millions of people suddenly find themselves on different sides of a border? And why did the birth of this new country come with one of the largest migrations and humanitarian crises in modern history? To understand the creation of Pakistan, we need to go back to the period when the Indian subcontinent was under British rule. For nearly 2 centuries, the British controlled vast territories across South Asia, ruling over hundreds of millions of people belonging to different religions, languages, and cultures. Among the largest religious communities were Hindus and Muslims. For many years, these communities lived side by side in cities and villages across the subcontinent. But British colonial policies, economic competition, and political changes gradually created divisions. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, new political movements began to emerge as Indians demanded more rights and eventually independence from British rule. One of the most influential organizations was the Indian National Congress, formed in 1885. It aimed to represent Indians and push for political reforms and self-government. However, many Muslim leaders began to worry that in a future independent India, the Muslim minority might not have enough political power compared to the Hindu majority. In 1906, the All India Muslim League was formed to represent Muslim political interests. Initially, the League did not demand a separate country. Instead, it sought protections and political guarantees for Muslims within a united India. Over time, tensions between different political visions for India's future grew stronger. Some leaders believed India should remain a single united nation after independence, with equal rights for all communities. Others began to argue that religious and political differences were too deep and that Muslims needed a separate homeland where they would not be politically marginalized. One of the most important figures in this debate was Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Early in his political career, Jinnah actually supported Hindu-Muslim unity and worked with leaders from different communities. But as political negotiations continued through the 1920s and 1930s, disagreements over representation, elections, and power sharing became more intense. A major turning point came in 1940 when the Muslim League passed the Lahore Resolution. This resolution proposed that Muslim-majority regions in the northwestern and eastern parts of India should form independent states. Although the exact details were still unclear, the idea of a separate Muslim homeland gained strong political momentum. Meanwhile, the demand for independence from British rule was growing across the subcontinent. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru pushed for a united India free from colonial control. But negotiations between the Congress and the Muslim League repeatedly broke down over how power would be shared in a future independent government. World War II further complicated the situation. The British government was weakened by the war and increasingly unable to maintain control over such a vast territory. After the war ended in 1945, it became clear that Britain would soon leave India. The question was no longer whether independence would come, but how the subcontinent would be governed afterward. As independence approached, tensions between communities intensified. Political disagreements turned into riots in several cities. In 1946, violence erupted in places like Calcutta and other regions, killing thousands of people. These events deepened fears on both sides. Muslim leaders argued that Muslims needed their own state for security and political autonomy. Many Congress leaders still hoped to keep the country united, but struggled to find a formula that would satisfy all sides. By 1947, the British government concluded that partitioning the subcontinent into 2 separate countries might be the only way to prevent further conflict. The plan was to create India as a largely Hindu-majority state and Pakistan as a Muslim-majority state. Pakistan itself was divided into 2 geographically separate regions. West Pakistan was located in the northwest of the subcontinent, while East Pakistan was located more than 1,000 miles away in the east. These regions were connected politically but separated by a vast stretch of Indian territory. The boundary between the new countries was drawn by a British lawyer named Cyril Radcliffe, who had never been to India before. He was given only a few weeks to divide one of the most populated regions on Earth into two new nations. His decisions determined which villages, districts, and cities would belong to India or Pakistan. When independence finally arrived in August 1947, celebrations were mixed with fear and uncertainty. Pakistan became an independent state on August 14th, followed by India on August 15th. But the announcement of the new borders triggered chaos across many regions. Millions of people suddenly realized that they were living on the wrong side of the new border. Muslims in many areas of India began moving toward Pakistan, while Hindus and Sikhs living in areas that became part of Pakistan moved toward India. What followed was one of the largest migrations in human history. Estimates suggest that around 14 to 15 million people crossed the new borders within a short period. Trains, roads, and refugee camps were filled with families carrying whatever they could take with them. Sadly, the migration was not peaceful. Communal violence broke out across several regions, leading to widespread killings, attacks, and displacement. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives during this tragic period. Despite the chaos and suffering, Pakistan began building its identity as a new nation. Muhammad Ali Jinnah became its first governor-general and spoke about creating a country where citizens would have freedom of religion and equal rights. However, the young country faced enormous challenges from the start, including refugee crises, administrative difficulties, and political tensions. India also faced its own challenges as it tried to stabilize the country after partition. Relations between the two new states quickly became tense, especially over the disputed region of Kashmir. This dispute led to the first war between India and Pakistan just months after independence. The creation of Pakistan was therefore not just a story of a political decision. It was the result of decades of debate about identity, representation, and security in a diverse society. For some people, Pakistan represented the fulfillment of a dream for a separate homeland for Muslims. For others, the partition of the subcontinent was a painful division that separated communities and families who had lived together for generations. The consequences of partition continue to shape South Asia today. India and Pakistan remain two major nations with complex political and historical relationships. The events of 1947 left deep memories and lessons about how political negotiations, identity, and fear can reshape entire regions. Looking back, the creation of Pakistan stands as one of the most significant and complicated moments in modern history. It was the birth of a new nation, but it was also a reminder of how difficult and costly the process of drawing new borders can be.